Thank you, Mr. Pete, and I'm assuming you can hear me clearly.
Fine. See you too. Go for it.
Yes, indeed. So, thank you. And I'd be remiss if I didn't do this. I got to give a shout out to yourself. I have to give a shout out to Miss Kleins. I have to give a shout out to Mr. Ian Vainlines. I'm looking at the legends, right? The individuals who've been doing this business for 5, 10, 20 years, and I am acutely aware of the shoulders that I stand on, right? I know because of the work that you were willing to do, the belief that you had that this opportunity exists. And so, first and foremost, I just want to thank you. I want to thank Ms. Kleins. I want to thank Mr. Ian Van Lines. I want to thank those individuals who literally laid the foundation for me to even have the opportunity to show up on the conference call. And of course, I thank you for thinking enough of me to trust me to speak to the prosperity family team, and hopefully what I share tonight lands and makes a change in someone's life and in their business. And when you asked me to give the training, one of the things I thought about was a conversation I've been having real frequently with many of the team members that I work with, those intra and outside of the organization. And one of my team members in particular asked me recently, Juwan, how have you been able to consistently show up in your business? Right? How have you been able to continue to work even when you don't feel like it, right? Over the course of time. And Mr. Pete, I keep things close to the vest, right? If I'm going through some type of trials or tribulations, if I'm going through something, I'm not that guy that's going to tell everybody and their mama, like, I don't look for sympathy. You know what I mean? And so this person has seen some things, but didn't really know how deep the rabbit hole went in terms of the last several years. And what I want to share with individuals is, look, I'm not the special. I'm not. And I think you'll find that the majority of the individuals who've achieved like tremendous success. I mean, everybody can't be Elon Musk, right? The guy's brilliant. Figured out a way to go to outer space on rice. You know what I mean? But for the rest of us regular human beings, most people that you find out who are tremendously successful, they're not the special. We've all made mistakes. I've made terrible mistakes along my entrepreneurial journey. I've known death. I've known in my family, I've known psychological and financial hardship, family issues. But the one thing that I'm really clear about is that if you're keeping a positive mental attitude, if you're willing to do the work, even when you don't feel like it, look, those things are skill trade. Because no one here listening tonight, none of the legends listening tonight will tell you they have not gone through trials and tribulations. And what I tell people, look, courage is not the absence of fear, but guess what? Success doesn't occur absent inconvenience, right? I tell people all the time, BS.com doesn't stop because you chose to become an entrepreneur. And so when, one of my partners asked me that, I'll be frank, I went and asked a million questions of other ring earners because I wanted to know, like, what's the formula, right? And then when I received the phone call from you, I stepped on the gas and called several other people. And I said, talk to me. What do you think the formula is? And so what I'm going to share with you tonight, yeah, it comes from my perspective, but I'm going to tell you, it comes from the perspective of at least 5, 6 other ring earners that I've had the opportunity to speak with over the last 48 hours. And so one of the things that, I would share once again is, look, you're looking for talents, as Mr. Peden said. You're looking for skills. You're looking for attributes oftentimes. But I'm going to tell you what you're not looking for. It's the thing that you're not looking for that really separates those individuals who achieve on a consistent basis from those who don't. And the thing that you're not looking for that I think you'll find is that individuals who are really successful don't have an off button. The off button is broke, right? There's no off switch when it comes to them and their goals and their ambitions and the things they want to do for their family and how they want to operate in the community. People who are really, really successful, they're either running to something or they're running from something, and it dominates their being. I remember when I initially joined People Assigned Legal Shield, and I heard Mr. Darnell Self tell the story about how he was struggling financially when he became a part of People Assigned Legal Shield. And, it had gotten to the point where his spouse had given him some money to pay the utility bill, and he lost the money. Like, he didn't have money to pay for the utilities. His car had been repossessed. The previous work that he was doing before wasn't working out. I mean, he was on his knuckles. And I remember him talking about the feeling, how he felt when he was sitting on the porch refusing to go inside to his home because he did not want to tell his spouse, I lost the utility bill money. Right. And look, you just got to know how, man, financially, but not just financially, but psychologically, how painful that must have been. Right. To have to go into your residence. You're the man of the house, right? And you don't have the wherewithal to pay for a utility bill. And you don't want to tell your wife you lost the money. Right. And so, what I want to talk about today is OPP. I want to talk about obsession. I want to talk about pain. And I want to talk about passion. Because I firmly believe that part of the reason why many of us don't perform on a consistent basis, I firmly believe the reason why most of us aren't operating in our power is because we haven't really been honest with ourselves. Like one of the questions I'm going to ask tonight, and then I'm going to step on the pedal because it's 40 minutes after. I'm not going to keep you on the phone here. I'll keep you online for 10 p.m. I promise you. I'm not going to do it, right? But one of the questions I'm going to ask everyone is simply this. And if you want to share it in the chat, do it. But what I'm going to ask you to do is I want you to write down what your top 3 goals are. If you have a pen and pad in front of you, write down the top 3 reasons why you joined PPLSI and Legal Shield, why you decided to launch and begin your entrepreneurial journey. What are those top 3 reasons? And like I said, if you want to volunteer and put it in the chat, go ahead and do so. If you just want to write it down, go ahead and do so. If you don't want to share it publicly, that's okay. I'm not going to ask anyone to share publicly. But if you don't mind, if 1 or 2 people don't mind sharing, don't make it a dissertation, right? But just briefly, like 10, 20 seconds, why did you decide to build a business with PPLSI? What motivated you? So I see money, I see residual, I see empower people. Who else? Take the next 30 seconds. If you want to unmic and share, if you want to put it in the chat, share it right now. What are the reasons why you decided to start your PPLSI and Legal Shield business?
Why? I got tired of working for other people, and I just didn't want to keep giving and giving and giving. And I wanted time freedom, and I wanted to be able to decide and move through my own future.
I love it. Who else? I see time freedom. I see freedom. I see break barriers. I love the membership. I love that I can help people and I can make extra money. Now, look, everyone, I'm going to say this in love. Hopefully, you've been around me long enough to trust me and know that what I'm getting ready to share with you is in love. What I'm going to share with you is this. Whatever you wrote down, 99% of you, one of you may have written down the real reason. But what I'm going to say to you right now is this. Most of you are lying to yourself. You're lying. You're sharing what you think sounds good. You're sharing what's palpable to your family, friends, and the people around you. That's not the real reason. This is how I know it's not the real reason. Because if it was the real reason, you'd all be executive directors. I'm just going to be so real with you. You'd all be executive directors. You know how I know you're lying? Because when you really have a goal that really matters to you, you want it like you want to breathe. You want it like the goal is going to motivate you to do the things you need to do. You have to want it like you want to breathe. I mean, breathe like, could you imagine? Everybody remember Zeus from WWF? I know I might be dating myself, right? But Zeus was this big guy, 6'5", 270 pounds, right? He was so big that if he put his hand on your head and it would cover your entire face and head. That's how big he was. And I want to put this in perspective for you. I want you to imagine yourself you're sitting in the pool, enjoying yourself, having a good time with your family. And I want you to imagine that he put his head on your hand. Keep in mind, as a 6'5", 260-pound guy. and he dunks your head in the pool for like 5 seconds, right? Now, let's be real. If a grown man did that to you and dunked your head in the pool for 5 seconds, when you came up, what would be your response? Yeah, shock. You might be, you might have some words for him. You might look at him in disbelief, right? But you're not going to do nothing because he's 6'5", 260 pounds. You're just going to look at him, maybe flip him off, whatever the case may be. But what if that same man, whose hands, once again, are big enough to cover the back and front of your head, that's how big and powerful he was. What if he took you and dunked you in the water for 30 seconds? Now, look, 30 seconds being dunked in the water isn't going to kill you. But when you come up, you're going to be coughing up water. Can we be in agreement with that? Are y'all with me? Can I get some head nods? When you came back up again, what would you do?
Breathe.
Yeah, you'd be struggling to breathe. Some of us will be screaming and yelling. Some of us might throw a punch at them, but it would be like performance. You ain't really trying to hit them. You're just trying to communicate. Hey, if you do that again, you're gonna have problems, right? But let's be real. 99% of us, you're not gonna do nothing about it. He's 260 pounds and he's a big guy, and you don't stand a chance in a physical conflict with him. But what if he grabbed your head again and he dunked you in the water for a minute? Now, a minute, when you come back up, you are doing more than coughing up water. Can we agree that you have reached fight or flight? You have reached that point where you are not thinking anymore. You reached that point where you're not, look, the only thing going through your mind, nothing's going through your mind. It's going to be a reaction. It doesn't matter. Look, some of you, your heads are going to turn like the exorcist. And you're going to turn around, you're going to try to bite that man's wrist off his hand. His size doesn't matter anymore. How much he weighs doesn't matter anymore. The fact that you know that you don't have any type of chance in whatever to defeat this guy, it won't matter. You are going to want air so bad. You're going to want to breathe so bad that it doesn't matter. That's what I mean. I want you to ask yourself tonight, what is the thing that you want more than air and do you want more than breath? I'm going to be transparent with you. When I first joined PPLSI, the story behind the story was I was going through a nasty custody battle. It was 2008. The economy had fallen off the cliff. My income had been cut more than in half in a 3-month period of time. And I was in the hole well over $15,000, $30,000, and I did not have the money to continue to pay a family law attorney. I did not have the money. I didn't have it. I would have had to file bankruptcy. It just wasn't going to happen. And I dragged my feet on PPLSI. I did. My story is I tell people my first month earned 500, my second month 1,000, my third and fourth month extra 2,500. Then I had a $2,000 day, and then I had a $10,000 day. That's the story I tell people, right? But that didn't happen when I first joined. I don't even think I fast start qualified. But the moment I got that first enrollment, that deposit hit my account, it became real. And I didn't do PPLSI because I was passionate about PPLSI, not in the way that I am today. I didn't do PPLSI because the membership was that powerful. That was not that much of a motivation. But yeah, the service made sense. I thought everyone should know about it, but that wasn't going to motivate me to do what I did. To go from zero to director and executive director in less than a handful of months, not knowing nothing but nothing. What motivated me was I was not going to be in a situation where I was not going to give my child something I didn't have growing up, which was present parents. I wanted that like I wanted to breathe. The pain and the agony of knowing that I would have been deprived of time with my children is what motivated me more than anything else. There's nothing anyone could have said to me that would have swayed me. There is no car accident. There was no death in the family. There was no disability. There was no disappointment. It didn't matter how many no's I had to go through. It didn't matter if I had to, because we didn't have Zoom. So I drove 2 and 3 hours across Michigan sometimes and to other states to do open houses, to what we call PBRs, right? I was obsessed. I was in pain and I was passionate. And, after that transpired and I was able to earn the money I needed to earn, you fast forward last year, and I'm going to tell you right now, guess what motivated me again last year? Same situation. It was a conflict over my children. If any of you have watched me do a training or do a briefing or get involved in anything, you always hear them in the background, right? I'm always shooing them away. And then my daughter, she don't care. She'll just run up and hug me in the middle of a presentation. It don't matter. Live presentations, Zooms, it doesn't matter. And you got to know that when I say I would take a bullet for my children, I would do that. And last year was the same thing. I wasn't quote unquote broken on my knuckles, but I needed an extra $50,000, $75,000 to do what I had to do to create the situation I needed to create so I could retain custody of my children. Right. And I'm not saying you have to have the same reasons that I had. But what I'm saying to you is, do you really have goals that you're obsessed with? Are you really like passionate about your reasons for building this business? Or are you saying things that just sound good? Right? I am obsessed with demolishing disenfranchisement. I grew up in a community and an environment where I saw smart people and good people lose every single day. I didn't grow up in well manicured neighborhoods. I didn't grow up in places where people had high paying jobs. I didn't grow up in environments where people were winning. And so when I think about this business, I am passionate about solving people's problems who grow up in the same environments I grew up in. My enemy can never be one individual or another associate. Like, I'm driven by the desire to set people free from the demons of poverty, ignorance, and spiritual starvation. Those are my enemies. Have you defined your enemy? Because maybe you're not passionate about something, but maybe you have enemies that you need to vanquish. Have you taken the time to write those things down? Those are the things I think about. Those are my enemies. See, some of you, your goals aren't big enough. You haven't defined a big enough enemy. You haven't come to terms with the pain you may be going through. Because if you're going to do entrepreneurship, if you're going to do it, man, look, entrepreneurship is one of the most difficult things you can do. Let's just be real. Like, I'm not going to candy coat it for you tonight. Because if everyone could do it, they would. The juice is worth the squeeze, make no doubt about it, right? Financially, I would switch with Ms. Klein, Mr. Pete, and Van Lines in a split second. Man, look, they're not earning $1 million a year, but let me tell you, when you're earning six-figure plus, passively, residually, you feel like a multimillionaire. Believe, right? And I firmly believe that, look, it is so tough to make smart decisions in terms of your family. It's tough to be your best self. It's tough to be the person you need to be, right? To be as divine as we're all born to be when your stomach is touching your back. You make decisions out of emotion, you make it out of desperation, selfishness. Look, the primary reason why you ever come across someone and it's like they're opposing you for no reason. They just can't believe that you want to support them. They can't believe that you want to help them. They can't believe that you are 100% genuine. They just can't believe you could be possibly that altruistic. You want to know why? Because they're constantly seeing people lose around them. They're constantly seeing people who are desperate. They're constantly seeing people who are selfish. They're constantly seeing people who can't see beyond the day and beyond the check. That's the primary reason why people fight against you. Their dreams and their beliefs aren't big enough. And they're looking at you like, who are you to be thinking win-win? See, you can't be wishy-washy about this stuff. And that's why some of you don't have success. You're being wishy-washy about this. You need to really ask yourself, what are you passionate about? What are the problems you want to solve? Once again, you don't have to have my reasons, but you need to have a reason that is reflective of you, that comes from your life, from your circumstance. You know, El Haj Malik Shabazz, otherwise known as Malcolm X, said, if you stand for nothing, you'll fall for anything. Some of you are not standing 10 toes down. So that no knocks you over. You're falling for anything. You're falling for the excuses. That's what's really going on. And you got to know when you draw a line in the sand, inevitably there's going to be opposition. There's going to be adversaries. There's going to be difficulties. You're going to create it because you've drawn a line in the sand. We live in a social media world, man. People will find an excuse not to like you for anything, much less you making a decision that you're going to be something they're not accustomed to. And once again, how big is your why? For me, it's about changing my family lineage. People are going to ask you, who are you to believe you can change your family? I haven't been able to. Who are you to believe you succeed? Who are you to believe you can be financially independent? Who are you to believe that you can build a multi-million-dollar business part-time, spare time? I've been working for 20, 30, 40, 50 years of my life, and I'm still earning 30, 50K a year. Who are you to believe that that's possible and that you're going to do it? Man, if you're that guy or that girl, people are going to oppose you anyway. And if you've made a decision to build a business as an entrepreneur with people aside, you've made a decision to sidestep, to funnel the mediocrity and disbelief in people's lives, right? Because that's what's going on. That's why people ask me all the time, why is the business so difficult? Why is the business so difficult? Look, we are spiritual beings having a physical existence. And that's what you're really fighting with people about. It's that disbelief. You got to make your vision plain, your purpose, whatever it may be, to make a difference in people's lives, your vision, your goals. Those things need to be your board of directors. That's your board of directors, your vision, your goal, your purpose. The reason why you start this business, the reason why you get up in the morning, that needs to be your board of directors, right? Rather than how you feel. I'm hurting. I know I'm gonna hurt some people's feelings tonight, but it's the truth. Some of us, our feelings are a board of directors, right? So we don't get up and do the things we need to do because we're being led by our feelings. But what are your goals? What are your values? What are your principles? What are the things that really matter to you? Like, are you really being honest? Those things need to be your board of directors. That way, when you don't feel like doing it, you'll be willing to do it anyway because your board of directors told you to do it. And the only way your board of directors are going to be to influence you is they need to be omnipotent. Your board of directors need to be everywhere. Look, I'm indifferent about how you do it. I'm not one of those individuals that will tell you, you got to do it this way. Look, it can be vision boards. It can be index cards. It can be a journal. It can be hourly reminders, right? In your phone or in your calendar. It can be your screensaver. It can be in your planner. It can be a bookmark. So when you're reading the book of the month, you're also looking at your board of directors. You're looking at your values, your goals, the things that matter most, the things that you really want to accomplish. But they have to be present all the time. Because if you jump online and Google it or chat GBT it, you'll find that most people in the scientific community say that human beings have 60 to 80,000 thoughts per day. That's how many thoughts you're having. And well over 80% of them are negative. 80% of your thoughts are negative. That's not a you thing. That's not a me thing. That's all human beings. We are all having negative thoughts all the time. So you have to offset those negative thoughts. That's why your board of directors, your values, your goals have to be powerful enough. They need to be omnipresent enough so when a BS.com visits you, it shakes you out of it. And you say, I'm going to do this anyway. And look, writing down these goals, you may not be able to find these things overnight. It may take you time. Look, you take 30, 40 minutes to drive to work, to an occupation is not going to set you free. Don't lie. You spend 30, 40 minutes on social media. Be real. You spend 30, 40 minutes talking about people, you know, arguing, going back and forth with people on social media. You spend 30, 40 minutes talking about the Super Bowl and what Kendrick had to say about Drake. Don't front, no lie. You've been doing it. You can take an hour or two or even a week to figure out what really motivates you, what really inspires you, what really is your goal, the thing that will motivate you to get up and do what you need to do. I hear people say, become a product of the product. That's not good enough. I'm gonna tell you right now, that's not good enough. It's nice, it's cute, it's important. You need to become a product of the product. But I'm gonna tell you what you really need to be. You need to be an example. You need to be a walking billboard for how this company's changed your life. As I was thinking about this talk tonight, as I start to wrap up, I thought about Harlan Stone Cipher, the founder of this company. And I didn't get a chance to meet Harlan Stone Cipher, but you know what they say, right? You can tell the strength of a leader by its fruit. I had a chance to meet Harlan Stone Cipher's fruit. And what I am certain of, and what I know for certain, is that he was a change agent. He was a grow giver. He was a prosperity partner. He just believed in the product. He believed in the capacity of this company to elevate people's lives. And I think it's just such an incredible blessing that we get to do this business. Not we have to do that, we get to do it. Like he believed this business could literally solve people's problems and elevate them to wherever they needed to go. And when we say be a product of the product, it's not enough to be a product just the service. You need to be an instrument of change in your own life. You have to start solving your problems. You need to be a walking testimony. Right? Mr. Peden mentioned earlier, I'm just under six figures. I'm like two decision maker appointments away. It's coming. Right? But look, the six figures, the title doesn't matter to me. The title doesn't matter. You can call me peanut butter. I don't care. The six figures motivates me because then that means I'm elite. And why is it important for me to be elite? Because if I'm elite, that means I've built a business that will pay me a passive residual income six figures, which means if I get hit by a car yesterday, my children who are in an adjoining room are taken care of. That's why it matters. I'm obsessed with that. Right? It's all I think about. I think about the peace of mind of being to live the life that Mr. Peden's living. I'm not going to tell his story tonight, but man, Mr. Peden's story motivates me all the time to know that what he went through and this business and his PPLSI and Legal Shield family was there for him. Man, that just doesn't happen. And that can happen here at PPLSI and Legal Shield. I think about all the people that I know, good people who deserve that, but they've yet to prove themselves deserve it, right? That's what I think about. We are in the people building business. We build the people and then the people build the business. Mr. Pete, I remember when I first joined, that's what everybody talked about. They said, forget the money. That's going to come. Forget the skills. You'll learn the skills. Forget the habits. You'll learn the habits. Everything we do, everyone can do. We're in the business of building people. We're in the business of building an army. Right? And you're not going to be able to influence people until you become an example, until you can tell a story. I can tell you the last several people I recruited, I told that story about how my back was against the wall and I had to do something for my family. I was not going to lose. it wasn't going to happen. What is that for you? Right? The last thing I'll leave you with is this, because I know some of you are still going to let the opposition knock you out your business sometimes. They're going to rattle you a little bit. And so I just want to leave you with this. Look, the reason why it's important for you to define your goals and your values and what victory looks like for you, and I said it earlier, right? You're pursuing the 20%. Some of you are getting mad at the 80 percenters. The 80 percenters are the people who aren't going to get it anyway. I'm just being so real with you. I have family members who are 80 percenters. Joanne, who do you think you are to be doing the things you're doing in the community and building this business and another? It's going to be your family. It's going to be your friends. It's going to be the people around you. You're spending too much time focused. I know 80% of people are going to be in opposition to me, not because I'm a bad person, but just because they don't believe what I believe. They don't want what I want. They don't have the goals that I have. It's just out of their ecosystems, out of their hemisphere. They can't imagine it. So I'm not interested in those 80 percenters. I'm interested in the 20%. The people who believe what I believe and want what I want. If you ask any CEO of any company, they'll tell you that if you take the square root of a company staff, so they have 100, it's 10 of them that's moving the thing. You take the square root of any company, and if you've gone to church, been any part of a nonprofit organization, if you've been a part of anything, you know this to be true. You have the people who just show up and don't contribute much or nothing. You have the people who are kind of active and involved. You know, they want to see it happen. They want to see it win. And then you have the people who are driving the thing. Can I get an amen? Can I get a head nod? Am I just talking to myself? We've all been there. So you take the square root of any business. So you have 100 people you're working with, 10 is driving the thing. You're focused on the 90 who aren't. Look, find your 10. Motivate your 10. Motivate those people who get it. Those are the people you should be working with. Stop letting folks who don't see it, don't believe it, don't have the drive. Look, I'm not saying discriminate, but I'm saying, look, Mr. Peter is smiling because he know what I'm talking about. Right? Sometimes I'm the bad guy, right? But I'm gonna give you the truth. Be an example so you can motivate the other people who want it. But focus on your 10. Solve the problems, build the people, right? And that's what I would share with you in terms of mindset and frameworks that I know have served me. And that's the feedback that I receive from several individuals who are ring earners in the business, right? And hopefully I don't expect this is going to land with everybody. I don't expect everyone's going to take action, but you know what? I'm indifferent to an extent. I want the people who are drawing a line in the sand, who are ready to get after it. This was for you. And if you're not there, call up your leadership and they'll talk to you and they'll get you there. But for those who are there tonight, this is the attitude and the framework and the mindset that I encourage you to adopt.